Welcome to today's Pick a Card. We are taking a look today at how can we let in the abundance that is trying to come in, because it is trying to come in. How can we assist that happening? So I've already prepared 3 piles with oracle cards. We will be pulling tarot cards in the readings. So I'm going to show you what we have here up close. So let's start off with pile number 1. So as you can see, I picked 3 coins today. I thought that was a great representation of abundance. Although abundance is not necessarily always monetary, keep that in mind. This is a dollar coin from 1923. I'll show you both sides. There's the eagle on the back and Lady Liberty on the front, and with that we have these 2 purples. That is pile number 1. Pile number 2, we have a beautiful $50 coin with Lady Liberty. Let me see if I can get closer. And the sun in the back. And then on the other side, of course, the eagle. Along with these beautiful blues. And then we have pile number 3, bold reds. First of all, bold reds go very well with this bold eagle, bold, bald eagle, that has somehow made it to the moon. Look at that. Anything is possible, right? So this again is a dollar coin. This one is from 1972. And just because I just realized I didn't check this one, pile number 2 is from 1943. Just in case those numbers are significant to someone. Alright, so I'm going to give you a moment to see which pile calls to you. And then, as always, you can find your timestamps in the description below, and I will meet you at your reading. Pile number 1, this is your reading. If you chose these purples along with this beautiful silver dollar from 1923, this is actually the only coin that I have a little plastic cover for. This is my favorite, so she is protected. Okay, we're going to set this right up here. It's a little bit reflective right there. Let's see if this makes it better. And we're going to set your oracle cards aside for now and use those as confirmation later on in the reading. So for now, we are going to pull some tarot cards to look at how can you let in your abundance. So depending on what comes out, that might have to do with what is blocking your abundance, or just a confirmation of the direction that you're headed in. This can play out in many ways. So let's take a look and see what comes out. For pile number 1, how can we let in our abundance? Pile number 1. Okay, so I'm going to pull a lot more cards, but I'm getting a very distinct message that might only apply for very few, and possibly even just one person. But I'm somehow getting a message here saying that check your inboxes. Make sure that you're not missing out on something that has been ruled in your favor. I feel like there's some kind of actual financial gain that you might be overlooking at this point, because I don't know if this is like a settlement, if there's something that you've overlooked, but that is just a very distinct message coming in. But we're getting a lot more here. Okay, I love this. This is really nice. So the message that I'm getting in this context is how to let in your abundance is to be choosy, be picky with the company that you choose. Be picky with the opportunities that you take, where you put your focus. So not every opportunity needs to be taken. I'm hearing quality over quantity. There is a distinct talent in deciding which opportunity is worth taking, and there is this feeling here of you don't have to do it alone, especially because we have the Three of Cups here. Let me get some more cards. And I'm also getting this vibe of there might be an idea, and we have the Three of Pentacles, goes very nicely here. There might be an idea that you've previously dismissed because it felt unrealistic. I'm getting this strongly. I think you are capable of building a lot more than you are aware of. And you may have previously dismissed an idea with the thoughts of, well, I don't have the resources to pull that off. But you are a lot more resourceful than you give yourself credit for, at least. Yeah, there's something that I think you've dismissed because you're like, well, that's just a fever dream, or that's just something I would do in an ideal world, or if I could do or have anything that I want in the world, I would be doing or have that. Spirit is telling you that is calling you for a reason, because that's where your abundance will flow most effortlessly. And I do feel this has to do with work. Look at this. My goodness. Your abundance is just waiting to come in. And it's waiting on you. For sure. Okay. This again it feels very specific, but it might be for someone. If you just recently have, or if you are about to be let go from a job, this is a blessing in disguise. This feels very much you could be cut from a job, from a project that you were entangled in, that you were committed to, and this is a blessing in disguise because it opens up your energy to focusing on what you really want to create. That is beautiful. Ooh, these are beautiful cards. These are absolutely beautiful. We have the moon at the bottom of the deck because this is closely linked to your emotions, closely linked to really what is calling you on a deep soul level. So how to let in your abundance is to accept this feels very much like accepting the clearance, accepting the things. I'm hearing accepting the way the dominoes have fallen. This feels like, okay, so if you picture a line of dominoes standing up, and you've been working so hard on standing them up, and you're standing and like, you know, have you ever built a domino line? The longer it gets, the more stressful it gets, right? And you're so focused on not knocking them over and not knocking them over. And then I think something came in and knocked one over, and all the others start going down, and you're like, no. But then you realize, oh, I was so focused on setting them up. That was the point. Knocking them down eventually was the point, so that it could get to the last one, or in this case, the first one, which was your initial drive to do something. So it could knock that one over and ignite something. I feel like that was the point, and you were so focused and so tied up in kind of like the material realm of things, so like the, you know, getting your bills paid and such, that you got tied up in something that was very cut and dry. And it became very much like the people that you interacted with were cut and dry, and it was very much, work felt like work. And I think the abundance that you're coming into, that you're letting in, work won't feel like work anymore. And you'll see the value in cherishing. There's definitely like a shift from like, oh, we need to get this done, to how can we more efficiently get things done and everyone be satisfied. So if you're not leaving a certain situation, then it's really just shifting your perspective on, why did I get into this in the first place? Why did I start this business in the first place? Why did I start this career in the first place? And it shifts your perspective, and your perspective alone being shifted, and really you standing in your power of like, this is something that we're doing. It might also be like a project, something that you're working on felt really like heavy and just dense, and then shifting your perspective on, okay, this isn't just work that I'm doing for nothing, but how can we make this profitable or beneficial for others? So bringing an altruistic approach into what you're doing will then in turn bring a lot of people to really appreciate your work, whatever you're doing. And again, I'm saying work because a lot of things are work, but not everything is a job, right? But a lot of things that we don't necessarily get paid for all the time are end up being work. So take it as it fits for you, but I just feel compelled to say work. But so then bringing this altruistic energy into what you create or what you do or what you work on a daily basis brings a lot of people to really admire your spirits. And then this admiration makes people want to work with you, want to give to the efforts, want to contribute to the whatever you're creating. And then that will make it easier. And like the Page of Pentacles here is like really valuing one coin, and we're talking about what's going to bring in, how can we bring in your abundance? Is one coin your abundance? No, that's just the beginning, because look at how precious this one coin is to him, because he earned it. He earned it. And it's different to earn something from something that you really love doing than just grinding your gears and churning out like mindless work and getting paid for it and paying your bills. It's not the same as creating something that you really believe in and that you're really emotionally attached to, and then seeing a payout from that. It's going to light you up. That is how your abundance is going to come in, really centering around you being gracious. But this is what I'm seeing. Like, I think a lot of people will benefit and appreciate what you create, the work that you do. However, it comes from it, and in the beginning it might feel like to you like you're making a selfish decision, because it really comes down to you following what you want to do, not what you should be doing, what you need to do, but really what you want to do. And I'm again feeling called to say this is going back to something where you started, going back to what first ignited your path, and you just got kind of sucked into a cycle. And going back to what really, this is feels like responsibilities, and maybe you need to lose sight of responsibilities for a brief period of time, just to refocus on really what elevates your soul, so that you can then move forward, and everyone will be so. It just feels like this feels like trying to make something work, flowing into something working effortlessly, because your focus has shifted from I have to do this to I want to do this. That is so beautiful. And so I am gonna go ahead and take a look at your oracle cards now. Okay, we have Let Go. And this card to me is very much letting go of the fear, letting go of this protective element of like, if I let this go, what's going to happen? Like, let it go. Especially we have the moon in the background here, like you're being emotionally encouraged to let go. This is very much an area of like, this is what's working, so we're going to keep doing this, so we can pay our bills. And it's very much an aspect of control. We feel in control, and yet following your desires really leads you to not lose any control. You still have just as much control, it's just more graceful. And then we have Seed. This is so much talking about what I was saying, going back to something, going back to where you started, the seed that you planted. It had to grow through darkness, it had to grow to become really strong, and now that it's strong, it's like you're ready to bloom, you're ready to blossom. And then we have I am accepting. To bring in your abundance, you need to be accepting, which goes beautifully with the Four of Cups, because this is a card of, ignoring something that you should be accepting. So I am accepting speaks of being open to change, being open to possibilities that you might fear, because it looks to you at first as if it is a loss of control, when in reality all I'm seeing here is you gaining a lot more control. So I'm going to pull from another deck some last oracle cards. I think this is a beautiful confirmation for someone that if there's something that's tugging at your heartstrings, it's not going to stop tugging. It's going to keep going until you answer that. And then you're going to be like, why didn't I do this sooner? Reconnect. Animals are not only beholders of great beauty, but they are also beholders of ancient wisdom. That's interesting, though. We got animals, and she's holding this big cat. So there might be something that's calling you to work with animals in some capacity, but that's just for some. For others, reconnecting is really just reconnecting with your instincts, because animals are not only beholders of great beauty, but they are also beholders of ancient wisdom. Is because animals usually, for the most part, aside from the animals that we have trained, animals live in instinct. Animals react in instincts. And, you know, to a great degree, as humans in society, we've taught ourselves sometimes to ignore our instincts as well as our intuition. So there might be an instinctive talent that you have that you've kind of put off to the side, and this card is really asking you to reconnect with your instincts and your intuition. Oh, I love this. I love this card. This is Call on Archangel Jophiel. The Archangel of beautiful thoughts can help you think in enlightening ways. Jophiel is an amazing archangel that really loves creativity and creation. She loves assisting people in creating. It's all about gaining the confidence in creating. There's a lot here confirming that you are meant to, especially because we have the Empress, you are meant to, we have so many threes, you are meant to create something, absolutely. And I think the position that you're in right now, you're just kind of like, you're mulling it over, you're thinking about it a lot, but you need to create. You need to take action and create it. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. This was a beautiful reading. I hope that it resonated, and I hope that it confirmed some things for you. As always, I'm grateful to be on this journey with you, and I hope to read for you again sometime. Bye. Hi, Pal 2. This is your reading if you chose these blues and this $50 coin. Come on. There we go. I'm hoping you can really see the details. Beautiful. I'm not too well educated on the imagery here, but I mean, it is Lady Liberty, and she is holding what looks to be like flowers, which I'm sure are some significance, like they might be some kind of, I wouldn't be surprised if it was some kind of wheat of some sort. So let's go ahead and put her up here, and we're going to put your oracle cards here for now. We will use those later for confirmation, and right now we are going to pull some tarot cards. We're going to take a look at how can you let in your abundance. How can we let in our abundance for pile 2? Okay, hesitant. Oh, wow. Wow, worth the wait, right? Immediately there is a call to walk away from something because it's not it. It's not it emotionally. Something is not emotionally fulfilling. Like, a lot of it is great, a lot of what you're dealing with. And I want to reiterate that when we speak about abundance, how can we let in your abundance? Abundance is many things. It's not just monetary. It's not just material. It can also be emotional abundance, family, especially because we have the Ten of Cups here. Okay, yeah, this is a very emotional. This is definitely very emotional vibes here. So turning away from something because it's very close, but it's not quite it. You know when you try on a bunch of different pants, you're shopping for pants or a dress, and you try on all kinds of different ones, and you're like, these are great for a lot of reasons. This dress fits in a lot of places, but there's something that's missing. There's something where it's like, I know it when I feel it. I know it when I wear it. This, like knowing that there's something out there that is calling you and you're willing to release. And that doesn't mean you're losing all these cups because you know where you left them. But you're willing to release and set aside some gains that you've made to search for more. And honestly, what I'm seeing right here is that you will learn a lot about yourself. I think that you will enter, if you're not already in this, you will enter a cycle of self-knowledge. And I think you, I don't know if you ever read The Alchemist. In The Alchemist, the main character goes on a journey that takes him far away from home. And on this journey, he learns a lot about himself and how the world works. And not to spoil it for anyone who hasn't read it, it's a beautiful and very easy read. But ultimately, the greatest lesson that he learns is that this journey that took him so far away from home just leads him back home. And this is what I'm seeing here. There is something that is taking you away, and in some capacity it is taking you away just to take you back to something. And I'm obviously, this is the Six of Cups, so I'm getting very strong childhood vibes, like learning something about your childhood, integrating, understanding something about yourself that somehow started in your childhood, and then being able to move forward with more of an idea of what it is that you were trying to find aside from the cups that you already have. This is a very emotional journey. And even if it is not a physical journey, this feels very much like and in that case, I do want to say, sometimes we go on these emotional journeys while everyday life is still happening around us, and that can be very exhausting. So please be kind to yourself, take care of yourself, allow yourself time to process what it is that you are transmuting. Oh, we will take these. Yep, there's definitely something that you were not satisfied with, something that you possibly couldn't fully accept. Like these cups that were offered to you, you were like, no, this is not, these are not the cups that I want. I want this perfect image, right? And so you're setting off and being like, okay, I'll start over because these cups this is the image that I have. I want a clean slate. Very determined. and very hopeful. Yeah. And then in the end, we have this emotional reverberation, is what I'm hearing. We have the Queen of Cups, an emotional remembrance. And we have the Queen of Pentacles. This is interesting. This is interesting because if I think about how to bring in your abundance, this is asking you, I almost feel like this is asking you to, sure, go ahead, go, explore, find out if the grass is greener somewhere else. And I cannot tell you at this point if the grass is greener somewhere else, or if this will lead you to realize that what you've left behind is what you are meant to return to. That is going to be different for each and every one of you, and only you will know the answer to that. But this journey will, again, I feel very much that it's an emotional journey. This journey will help you understand and decide where your abundance lies. Because if we're talking about how to let your abundance in, I think for you, this is all about deciding where it lies. I think there are possibly two paths that you are in front of, where one is more emotional and one is more immediate, more material, as in like it's already visible to you. But that again is one where you're like, I don't feel like this is it. I don't feel like it's all here. There's something somewhere else. And I think you have to go on that journey to discover that something else, so you know what that something else is and understand. I think it really leads to deeper understanding of your own emotions. And that is abundance for sure. And that will lead to abundance also, because then you are able to approach what it is that you want in life very differently. Because if you think like, oh, I want this picture perfect, I want this, like if you have this vague image of exactly what you want, and then you learn some lessons and gain some self-knowledge and realize, oh, that isn't actually what I wanted. I wanted something that satisfies these specific needs that I developed in childhood. And now I understand where that's coming from. That might completely change this image of what it is you're looking for, because you've gained some knowledge on how to address these needs on your own. So that might shift your expectations in how the universe needs to fulfill your needs, because you have gained more awareness. I really hope that makes sense, because it's like a subtle shift. Let me try and find a metaphor. Let's say that you are hungry and you're standing in your kitchen and you're looking in your fridge and you're like, this is just not doing it. I'm craving something, but I don't know what it is. I want like this meal with like pasta and a creamy sauce and shrimp, and oh my god, I'm craving this and I'm craving that. So you go out, and this is going to get very specific, and you go out and you're like, you know what, I'm just going to get takeout. I don't want to make anything that's in my fridge. I'm going to get takeout. And you go out and you check out all the restaurants in your area and you're like, do I want this? Like, that looks amazing. Like, yeah, this looks really good. But I had this picture of these like shrimp fettuccine, right? And none of the restaurants are really offering this meal that you pictured. And as you're like walking through your town trying to figure out like, well, then what am I going to eat? You're realizing that you were craving carbs for a specific reason. You were craving fish for a specific reason. That you somehow, as you're on this journey of figuring out what you want to eat, you're realizing, oh, I just, worked out a bunch earlier. That's why I'm craving the carbs. Or, oh, I there's many different reasons that we crave different foods. And once you understand why you're craving those foods, then you're like, well, possibly it's either you find a restaurant that offers the basics of what you're craving and you're like, okay, I'll get this. And that totally will satisfy my craving. I'm just getting a sharp ear pain in my right ear. Just always feel compelled to share that. On the other hand, it might possibly lead you to go back home, take another look at your fridge and be like, okay, I have this pasta, I don't have white sauce, I'll make a red sauce, and I have some tilapia in the freezer. And that will satisfy my needs. It might not be what I have pictured, but I'm aware now why I was craving that, and I can make it work. I hope that didn't go too far with the metaphor, but that's the vibe I'm getting here. I'm gonna get just some confirmation cards. Yeah, there's definitely like this energy of like not getting what you want, or feeling like you're not getting what you want, and then taking on the quest to figure out what you want. And then the Empress knows what she wants. The Empress knows exactly, and we have the Hangman who goes through a change of perspective. This is all about a change in perspective. But you have to step away. You have to make that decision to step away from something in order to gain that change of perspective. Me telling you like, oh, you're going to change your perspective doesn't undo the fact that you have to go through that process, right? Because otherwise you won't fully integrate it, and then you'll want to leave again in the future, whatever this is. So again, I was getting very much a vibe of like family or love, because this is very emotional, but this can also pertain to work and career. So there's something that you have been, you've been in a certain field and it just doesn't satisfy you fully, and you've invested a lot of your time and efforts into this, so giving it up feels like really hard to do, but there is something that makes you feel like it's worth it. And so you go out and try to find, and you can do this simultaneously, you don't have to fully turn your back. So you go out and find different things, truly just different things to try out, try on, and then you realize like what it is that you were craving and why, and the awareness and understanding, fully integrating your emotions, then leads you back to making more informed decisions for your life. So I'm going to take a look at your oracle cards now. Seasons. I really like this for this spread that we've had so far, because this just reiterates that this is a normal process. Like, you're not wrong for wanting more or feeling like there's something that you're missing, because this feels very much like part of a growth process. This feels like a process of you learning about your needs so that you can address them more on your own. So I think that fits in really nicely. Nourish. Oh my God. That is perfect, because nourish, again, just underlines this need to, and with the Empress too, that is just beautiful, to understand your needs, gain awareness about your needs and be able to address them. So it feels like at first you're going out, you're stepping away from something because it's like, you're not addressing my needs. Whatever this is that whether it's a job or a family situation or a loved one, you're stepping away because it's like, you are not addressing my needs. And then in this process, you're understanding more where your needs are coming from. And then that helps you to be like, you know what? I wasn't addressing my needs either. And then whether you come back to whatever it is that you left, or whether you start fresh somewhere else, that is up to you. But now you're returning to being open to getting your needs met in a much more aware state. I invoke laughter. And I think this is beautiful because we did have the Five of Cups and the Ten of Wands. This is really asking you to not be too hard on yourself, and to, especially when we walk away from something that has taken a lot of investment, a lot of time, sometimes that can bruise our egos. So to not be so hard on yourself for that, but to understand that seasons, as we see right below that, come and go, and there's a time to blossom and there's a time that we aren't blossoming. I invoke laughter. It's really about, especially because this is a very emotional time, emotional journey, like I said earlier, to be careful that it doesn't swallow you up whole. This is a very important process that you're going through, but to really go through the process, but also leave room for lightness. I hope that makes sense. You are not alone. The moon is a friend for the lonesome to talk to. You are not alone. You are not alone. Again, I want to just say that this feels like a very natural human process. I do feel like you're experiencing, or will be experiencing, some guilt around the fact that you are walking away from something, some guilt, as if you weren't grateful for what you've been given, just because you feel like there's more out there. I do think that, again, because we have the moon, that this is just an emotional maturing that you're experiencing. Awakening, right as I said that. An emotional maturing. This is awakening. Every star was once darker than the night before it awoke. Awakening, yeah, you are awakening. Awakening is all about awareness, and this is very much about you gaining awareness around your emotional drives, which will then bring in your abundance, because you are able to, again, address your needs. You're able to vocalize your needs. So once you are able to vocalize your needs to, whether it is your surroundings or the universe in general, then your needs are way more likely to be met, right? Once people know, or the universe knows, okay, They understand now what it is that they want and why, and they have a much clearer image of what they are asking for. Now we can fulfill this order, and that's what brings in your abundance. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it there. I do think, like I said, you have an emotional journey ahead, or you are possibly in it already. I just want to confirm to you that you are doing it, and it's going to be for the better. It's worth it. Emotional journeys and journeys of self-knowledge are always worth it. Okay, so with that, as always, I'm grateful to be on this journey with you, and I hope to read for you again sometime. Bye. Hi, Pile 3. If you chose this big ol' silver dollar with the eagle on the moon and these beautiful deep reds, then this is your reading. I'm going to set this up here along with your oracle cards. We will use those as confirmation later on in the reading. And we will start off now with tarot cards. We're going to take a look at how you can let in your abundance. How to let in your abundance for Pile 3. Let's take a look. Immediately feeling like there's some things in the past that did not work out, and Spirit is asking you to, to let that go. Oh my goodness. Love. What is going on? What did we go through? This is harsh. This is very mental energy. Wow. Spirit is very strongly telling me that you are, first of all, in control, but that you possibly give up control too easily. And by give up control, I mean give up control to negative thought patterns in your mind. You let them, and that sounds really harsh because I know how overwhelming they can be, but this is what I'm hearing. You let them take over. And I think the key to letting in your abundance will be really focusing on regaining control of your mind. And immediately I'm being drawn to encourage you to not just try out, but to truly commit to meditation. Truly commit, even if it's something that you already do, commit stronger. If it's something that you feel like you've never been able to do, commit to trying. It's not something that you're ever going to master. It's something that we practice. Some days work out better than others, but Spirit is very strongly wanting you to release these thoughts, and the way to release those is to really be present in the moment. Oh, I feel like you think you fumbled a bag. You let some opportunity slip through your fingers, and you are really disappointed, and you're having a hard time releasing that disappointment. But the Five of Cups famously has 3 cups that are spilled, and this person is so focused on the mishap of the 3 spilled cups, totally ignoring that there are 2 cups, so opportunities that are still available to them. Yeah, you are absolutely, there are many paths to your abundance and to your happiness. And I think that might be overwhelming as well. So overwhelming that you're feeling like seeing so many paths makes you feel like you don't know which path to take, and that then feels the same as if there were no paths. There's it feels like some deep childhood wounds that are holding you back. It might have to do with feelings around self-worth, not feeling worthy of abundance, growing up, possibly growing up in an environment, my goodness, in an environment of lack, and feeling like you have to repeat that pattern, when in reality you absolutely do not have to do that. You are capable of releasing that mental prison, that mental limitation. And of course, I want to just say that when we speak of material abundance specifically, it's not always as easy as we'd like to say it is, right? Like, oh, just change your mindset. No, that's not it. This isn't a matter of like, oh, you need to change your mindset to be worthy or anything like that. You are inherently worthy. But this is about changing your perspective, because clearly your perspective as of right now is holding you back. Let's get some more cards. And I have the moon at the bottom of the deck. This is very much like an emotional, something didn't work out and it really got you down. And Spirit is like, okay, but now it's time to be proactive. Now it's time to be decisive. And that pressure, almost like hearing those horns blaring, the pressure of performing and now making a decision is kind of like keeping you stuck. Yeah, you're very exhausted. You feel like you gave it an honest try and it didn't work out, so now you're feeling very stuck. But see, meanwhile, Spirit is like, we're still here. Like, we never left. You never lost. Things will work out in your favor, but we need you to move. We need you to be decisive. This is very clearly telling me that you have a hard time I think you have a hard time picturing good outcomes. You have a hard time manifesting because you are thinking too limited. You are thinking too small. Which again, I feel like comes from a deep-rooted emotional pain where something didn't work out, or some situation, someone made you believe that you don't deserve the Ten of Cups, that you don't deserve happiness. And I and Spirit are here to tell you that that is absolutely not true. You are capable and you are absolutely due for happiness. And the way to let that in is to regain control of your mind. And I know it's so easily said. But it's so difficult to do. So what I would like to tell you right now is to really focus again, like I said, on meditation. If meditation is not for you, find other ways that mimic or compare to meditation. So how can we get out of our physical or out of our mental state is bringing awareness to the physical. So moving our body when we are spiraling mentally. Physicality will shift your mind if you are not able to do it on your own. And then perhaps, starting off with any time that you are in the spiral of negative thoughts, trying to move your body or trying to just distract your mind, reading a book, creating some art. Really, the idea is to shift your focus away from the negative thoughts so that you can make room for new pathways of thinking in positive ways. The problem when people tell you like, oh, you just need to stop thinking so negatively is if you are so used to thinking negatively, and I am very, very well familiar with this pattern. If you are used to thinking negatively, you've created pathways in your brain that just are quicker and easier for the negative thoughts. And it's such a struggle to create positive thoughts because those pathways aren't used as frequently in your brain. So it becomes harder and your neurons will just travel whichever way is fastest. So your brain is used to going the same route in your neural pathways over and over. And this is the route we go. This is the quickest and easiest, most efficient. So it does take work for you to retrain and be like, no, we're not taking this route. We're taking the scenic route. We are trying to be positive. Absolutely takes practice and effort continuously. But I'm telling you, it is so worth it. It is so worth it because at some point you become so much more aware of when you are falling back into this, and you'll learn faster and faster to redirect your focus, and you'll learn to become more in control of the direction your mental flow is taking. And then that will lead you. Awareness is key. It really is super simple when it comes down to awareness is key. Once you are aware, that doesn't mean this is going to go away forever, no, but then you become aware. That then gives you control, and then you can decide. Versus feeling stuck in this just by default, you can decide, okay, do I want to go through this mental loop, or do I want to try and focus on the more positive things? So in terms of letting in your abundance, I think for you this feels very much like the other readings. I feel like one was more emotional, one was more like work focused, and this feels very much on your abundance is actually letting in everything. Letting in the world, letting the world back in, because it feels like you've been shutting it out because it was painful. There was something that was very painful So you've kind of shut possibilities out, possibility of emotional fulfillment, because I think that kind of lays the base foundation for everything, right? The possibility of emotional fulfillment leads to everything else, of fulfillment within love, fulfillment within career. So I think for you, this letting in of abundance is about letting all types of possibilities back in. I'm going to take a look at your oracle cards now. We have the snake. This is very interesting because the snake often represents Scorpio, which is a very transformational energy, and definitely familiar with darkness and sadness. And the snake sheds its skin, right? So when things don't work out the way that you want, when things cause you pain, it's okay to feel that, but you do need to shed that at some point. If the snake were to keep living on in the dead skin, it would also not be able to move. I have a very high-pitched tone in my right ear right now. Inclusions. I feel like inclusions definitely speaks to what I was saying in terms of letting the world back in. Not just letting the world back in, but letting yourself back into the world. Yeah, there's something that didn't work out. Holding on to it mentally isn't going to fix it. You need to let yourself back into the world, and you need to let the world back into your energy. Learn and integrate what you learned, but don't hold on to that dead skin. And then we have, I give offerings that are genuine. I give offerings that are genuine. This, I feel like, the imagery especially is reminding me of what I was saying about about meditation. So I give offerings that are genuine. To me, in this context, speaks about giving offerings to yourself that are genuine. Because these negative thoughts, like thinking I'm not worthy, thinking I can't do this, thinking it's all too much, thinking all those negative things, whatever it is that comes to mind for you effortlessly, negatively, really think about it. Are those truly genuine thoughts? Are those truly something that comes from a genuine place, from a genuine belief that you have? Because I can tell you with absolute certainty that no, it is not genuine. Because your genuine self would not talk to you that way. Your genuine self, your intuition, your higher self would not make you feel this way. It is your ego that makes you feel this way. And we are all victim to our ego. Our ego is what gets hurt, what gets burnt, what wants to make others or ourselves pay for situations that we've endured. But our ego is like a shell made to protect us, a skin made to protect us, but we outgrow our ego and then we need to shed it. And then we grow into a new ego, we outgrow that ego and we shed it. I give offerings that are genuine. Is telling me in this context very much that you should focus on thoughts that are genuine. Focus on thoughts about yourself, especially, that are genuine, about yourself, what you're capable of, your future. Focus on thoughts that are genuine, positive, hopeful, and uplifting. Everything else is likely your ego, and it is important to understand why those thoughts are coming up. It's important to understand the source, and that helps you kind of dismantle them, disarm them once you understand where this thought pattern is coming from, and then actively deciding, okay, is this a genuine thought? Is this something that is helpful, or is this something that is holding me back? Okay, I'm going to pull 2 more oracle cards for you. Excuse me. Stay weird. I love this card. Live people ignore the strange and unusual. I myself am strange and unusual. And this might have to do, especially because we were talking about this coming from childhood. Perhaps you were made to feel like you don't fit in, especially because we have the snake as well, and inclusions. I could strongly see how this has to do with not feeling like you fit in. First of all, do you want to fit in? Who wants to fit in? You're not made to fit in. Nobody fits in. Fitting in is really just a concept that was made up. Absolutely. So stay weird. Embrace your weirdness. Embrace what makes you different. There is a lot of beauty to you. And I just can't stand the fact that you are being so hard on yourself. Inspire. Try to be a rainbow in someone else's cloud. This is about trying to be a rainbow in your own cloud. Absolutely. And sometimes, especially when we are hurt, when we are stuck in our ego loop, we want someone else to come in and inspire us and lift us up, because we've fallen and we want someone to help us up. Unfortunately, we don't always have that kind of support around us, and so it is imperative that you learn how to support yourself through times like this. And Spirit, with the King of Swords and the Judgment card and the Temperance card that we covered up, Spirit is saying you absolutely have the ability and the strength to help yourself recover. And that's not the fun answer. That's not what we want to hear. But that will help you moving forward, knowing that you have the capacity to do it yourself will help you. And you still have this 10 of Cups here, and you have the 6 of Cups here. Like, there is so much possibility and opportunity for emotional fulfillment and sweetness and companionship. It's absolutely there in the future. And I'll let you know that at the bottom of the deck we have discoveries ahead. All truths are easy to understand once they are discovered. The point is to discover them. And this is what I'm trying to tell you with the refocusing your mental attention, is once you become aware of these loops, you'll be able to catch yourself. You'll be able to catch yourself as it happens. That doesn't mean it's going to go away for forever, but you'll be able to recognize when you're about to fall into that loop. And again, how does this bring in your abundance? Because that awareness is going to allow you to be more decisive, to make decisions, not be a victim to your mind, and to make decisions towards your abundance. and stay weird. Stay weird. Okay, I'm sending you much love. I am grateful to be on this journey with you, and I hope to read for you again sometime. Take care.